The inland Northwest is again under a heat advisory as temperatures near triple digits today. The heat can be dangerous for you, your pets, and increase our risk for wildfires. On that note, let's get straight out to Chief Meteorologist Jeremy Legoo. And Jeremy, what do we need to know as we kick off the work week?
Hot today, hot tomorrow, and it looks like we stay pretty warm all week long, Mark. Hottest 2 days, though, Monday, Tuesday, and for that reason, we have excessive heat advisories and excessive heat warnings in place across the region. Those will last until 11 p.m. tomorrow for our temperatures just being downright hot. Right now, we sit in the mid-90s, and we are going to warm up for the next, say, hour and a half. 93 in Coeur d'Alene, 95 in Spokane, triple digits out in central Washington. It is a hot one. You're even up to 91 up in Sandpoint, 98 over in Libby. It's warm. It's one of those days where the map is all dark red and pink across the region. Today's hot. Tomorrow, even hotter. We're shooting for the triple digits here in Spokane. Does look like we cool down as we get into Wednesday and even Thursday. But I said something interesting was going to happen to bring about that cool down. Coming up, we're going to talk about it. That's a round of possible thunderstorms, and unfortunately, it doesn't look like there's much moisture with those. We'll talk the threat of dry lightning coming up in just a bit.
All right, Jeremy, sounds good. Thank you very much. And as the heat returns, Spokane is reactivating its cooling shelters. All 4 Spokane libraries are extending their hours to help people escape the heat starting today. The Shadle Park, Liberty Park, Hilliard, and Central libraries will now continue their extended hours until 8 p.m. until tomorrow. And don't forget about pools and splash pads. City splash pads across the city are open from 9 a.m. until 8 p.m. 6 pools will also be open Monday through Saturday. The hours vary, so you'll want to check before you head to those pools. The excessive heat heading our way means some outdoor events in Spokane are again canceled, including Spokane Riverfront Park Eats, which was scheduled tomorrow. This is the second time the summer event has been canceled due to the excessive heat.
Fine us.
That is the message from the organizers of the cooling tent set up at the homeless camp off I-90 in Freya. The Spokane Fire Marshal is still asking that it be removed because it does not have a permit. Jules Helping Hands, the nonprofit organization who put up the tent, says it'll keep it up at least through tomorrow. The city could fine the Washington State Department of Transportation $536 every day the tent is set up. But as of this afternoon, WashDOT says it has not received any citations. The cooling tent provides beds, food, water, and phone charging stations. The city, though, is encouraging people to use libraries as cooling stations with the hot weather. And while the city of Spokane is working to relocate people from the homeless encampment on I-90 in Freya to a shelter, another city is creating a designated homeless camping site. The city of Colville is preparing a 1-acre lot where people can legally camp. And that way the city can legally enforce its ordinances against camping on public property and long-term parking. Stevens County recently awarded Colville $125,000 in homeless funding. That funding will be used to fill the lot with gravel and build a fence around the property. Colville Mayor Jack Smith calls the pilot project a homeless shelter space. This site will include about 35 spaces for vehicles, tents, or campers that people are temporarily living in. Water, waste, and restrooms will also be available, but Mayor Smith says the camp is not meant for permanent stay.
There's going to be a limit on the time you can stay there, so the intent is get people there, get them in hygienic circumstances, link them up with the services, and give them a chance to rejoin the community and take advantage of those services so they can be productive citizens again.
Well, the city does not track the number of people who are homeless in their community. The mayor says there are roughly 30 people camping illegally or sleeping on the street. Right now, the city expects the site will be graded with gravel and fences put up in the next 2 to 3 months, they said. Evacuation orders around the Williams Lake fire are being removed. That fire broke out last week and has so far burned more than 1,800 acres south of Cheney. As of this morning, the fire was 65% contained. Fire officials are asking people be mindful. Crews are still working in that area. The fire destroyed 3 buildings and a fire engine, which was a total loss. No firefighters were hurt in that incident. Washington wildfires have fire district officials reminding homeowners to assess their properties against potential fire damage. KREM 2's Janelle Finch went out with the Spokane County Fire District 3 today, the district that's working to contain that Williams Lake fire, and followed its chief on a property assessment. She shares what property owners need to keep in mind as wildfire season continues.
Some wildfires are just unavoidable, and while you can't prevent all wildfires, what you can do is create defensible spaces to protect your home from them. So today I'm speaking with the Spokane County Fire District 3 chief about what homeowners can do to get ahead of potential wildfire damage. He says the earlier in the season you can protect your home, the better its chances of surviving a wildfire.
In these property assessments, we look at the different ranges, 0 to 5 feet, 5 feet to 30 feet, 30 feet to 100. And we gauge what fuels are in that area, and then we encourage the homeowner, if there are fuel models that we'd like to see away from those zones, then we can discuss that. It's an ongoing process. It's year after year. There's some maintenance to it, but it can ultimately save your home.
So if you want to see how your property will stack up against a potential wildfire, you can call your local fire district chief to get a property assessment. If you don't know what district you live in, you can also sign up for the Wildfire Ready Neighbor program through the Washington Department of Natural Resources. After providing information on where you live, a fire official will get connected with you to get an assessment. Janelle Finch, KREM 2 News.
Well, the search continues today for the owner of a German Shepherd who likely ran from that wildfire. A nearby homeowner found him covered in fire retardant. Debbie McGoran describes him as a really friendly, well-trained dog. She was taking him to check for a microchip today. So if you know who Smokey's owner might be, please contact Spokane County Fire District 3 tonight. In other news, KREM 2 obtained the documents for former WSU head football coach Nickrolovich tort claim against the state. He is seeking $25 million in damages. WSU fired Rolovich, as you might recall, last year after he chose not to get vaccinated against COVID-19. In the tort claim documents, his lawyer argues the university violated its blind review process with Rolovich's religious exemption request. They claim that athletic director Pat Chun interfered with the process and influenced the final decision. The tort claim says, quote, given Mr. Chun's hostility toward Coach Rolovich and his convictions and the substantial pressure Mr. Chun was under from university leadership and Olympia, it is hard to imagine a less neutral decision maker, unquote. The documents state that Rolovich had two options, get vaccinated or resign. A tort claim is the first step in someone suing the state. There is a 60-day period before a lawsuit can be filed to allow the state to review and respond to the claim. That 60-day period for Rolovich expired on June 26. Well, Australian singing sensation Olivia NewtonJohn passed away today at her home in Southern California at the age of 73. Her career took off playing the beloved Sandy in the hit movie Grease. NewtonJohn made a lifetime of music and devoted herself to charitable works and a personal dream to see a cure for cancer in her lifetime.
Olivia NewtonJohn took 80s aerobics to another level. The title single off her double platinum album, Physical, spent 10 weeks at #1 on the Billboard Hot 100. It was not only the biggest hit of the pop singer's career, but the #1 hit of the entire decade. The English-born, Australian-raised singer rose to fame in the 1978 movie adaptation of the musical Grease. She played Sandy, opposite John Travolta's Danny Zuko. The movie became the biggest box office hit of the year and enjoys an enduring popularity in the U.S.
40 years later, who would have thunk it?
Cast members and the director reunited in 2018 for the film's 40th anniversary.
We feel very grateful that this is still a part of everyone's. They love it.
Off-screen, NewtonJohn was a longtime activist for environmental and animal rights issues. She was diagnosed with breast cancer in 1992. It returned for the third time in 2017.
You look pretty fearless to me right now.
I'm not afraid of anything right now.
Speaking with Gayle King for Sunday Morning, NewtonJohn relied on her trademark sunny optimism.
I've chosen that path to be grateful and to feel good about things because the other side's not so good.
NewtonJohn poured her energy into her own healing and raising money for her cancer center in Australia, supporting research for plant-based medicine and wellness therapies.
I'm really delighted with all the support that we're getting for the centre.
NewtonJohn was made a dame in 2020 for her service to charity, cancer research, and entertainment, all things close to her heart.
I honestly love you.
Michael George, CBS News.
All right, still to come on KREM 2 News at 4 tonight. Vice President Kamala Harris cast the deciding vote to pass a massive spending bill funding climate change action and reducing health care costs. Now it heads to the president's desk for his signature. Plus, after an expensive few months, drivers can finally expect to see relief at the pump. We're back after a quick break.